joined by Lieutenant Colonel Sarit Zehavi, the founder and CEO of Alma Research and Education Center. Sarit, thank you for joining us. For the second time this week, we're seeing another rocket attack from Lebanon into Israeli territory. This time, Hezbollah is claiming responsibility and the IDF responding with artillery fire, also saying that this event shows that Hezbollah is deterred by the fact that it only fired into open areas. Is this really the case, in your opinion?
I don't think Hezbollah is that deterred. It's been 15 years since we've seen this kind of salvo of almost 20 rockets towards northern Israel. So something probably changed.
Yeah, and something has changed. What would be the difference here for Hezbollah? Israel is reacting. We're also hearing security sources saying that the IDF is preparing for more attacks from Lebanon in response to the IDF fire. Are we going to see a circle of attacks back and forth? What would make that stop?
Well, 2 points. First, I think this is the main dilemma of the IDF. Whether in order to preserve deterrent, it should unproportionately retaliate and make a very clear message to Hezbollah that all messages since 2006 still exist, that all principles that any attack against Israel may cause damage to Hezbollah still exist, or and take the risk that, as you said, we will end up in a situation of action-reaction. The other option is to respond in a very, very limited way, the same way that we've seen until now, except this time it's Hezbollah saying very clearly that it was Hezbollah, hoping that this would be the last incident. I am not sure. My feeling is that we, in the past 2 years, are gradually meeting a new reality here in the north. But you know what? The most interesting thing in what happened today is actually the way the Druze handled the incident and took over Hezbollah's vehicle with the rockets and launcher, and took Hezbollah operatives that launched the rockets and actually protested and invited the Lebanese army to arrest them. This was very interesting.
For sure. And Sarit, now, should Israel at a certain point find itself in a broader escalation with Lebanon, as we did see in the 2006 Lebanon war, what lessons do you think have been learned from that conflict, and how is Israel better prepared this time?
Oh, how much time do you have?
We'll have about 3 minutes.
So many lessons. First and foremost, don't initiate war if you're not completely prepared to it. But you definitely need to preserve deterrent. This is a key principle in Israel's strategy. And I think another lesson is the issue of intelligence. We are much more familiar with Hezbollah and its deployment in Lebanon in general and in South Lebanon than what we used to. And IDF published a few times information about that. So I believe that, and IDF is saying that Hezbollah also knows that if it will deteriorate into war, both sides will have to pay high costs, not only Israelis.
For sure. And talk us about the internal situation in Lebanon right now. Of course, this is not the Lebanon of 2006. Lebanon is in a very deep financial and political crisis. How is this all impacting the standing of Hezbollah in wanting to initiate an escalation of this kind?
In somewhat, it's very similar to 2006, because in 2006, for Hezbollah, there was a lot of pressure on Hezbollah. It was after the murder of Hariri. International community was highly involved. And Hezbollah carried out an attack that they didn't anticipate it will go to war, but definitely wanted to draw the attention from the internal issues to the northern border. It is definitely a probable option that Hezbollah would want to raise the tension on the Israeli-Lebanese border. I think it's not only Hezbollah. I've said that this week as well. It's also the Iranians. This is what they want. They want to create a situation that Lebanon would be a comfortable area to threaten Israel from, not only from Gaza. And that's why they are playing all over. Here, Hezbollah was trying to send a message also for the Lebanese themselves that he is the one in control in South Lebanon, and he's the one who's actually capable of launching 20 rockets at the same time to Israel.
Lieutenant Colonel Sarit Zehavi, founder and CEO of Alma Research and Education System, thank you so much for your insight on this story.